Good morning, everyone. So I wanted to just post a quick video giving you updates and an overview of what's going on in the professional trades pathway at Jackson College as of the spring semester of 2022. So there's a number of different programs that we have available that all loosely get categorized in three distinct areas that have a lot of interrelation. So we have our energy systems category. We also have our electrical category. And finally, we have our manufacturing category. So as we have developed and changed our coursework year to year, and we do make changes every year, more and more these three different categories have a lot in common. So if you pursue a degree in energy systems, you're going to also be taking courses that people in the electrical and the manufacturing path would do as well. And that applies to all three of these. So if you take any of our fundamental courses, chances are you're getting credits that could apply to a number of different degrees and certificates. So I want to start off just by sort of talking through what's going on in each of these three areas, give you a quick overview. So the first one I want to talk about that is pretty new as of last year is our Line Worker Certificate Program, which is part of our energy systems track. So the Line Worker Certificate is a new program that we developed with consumers. So there's a couple of things that you need to be aware about, and the first is that there is, at least as of recent times, again, this is current to the spring of 2022, a lot of interest in this program and a limited amount of space that consumers has available, which means that if you're interested in this, you want to let us know as soon as possible so we can start to get you through this program, get you enrolled, and make sure that you're on track to complete this. So what this program is, because it is a partnership between JC and Consumers Energy, is it is a sequence of courses that you take, and at the end of it, if you make it all the way through, you are guaranteed an interview for a spot as a consumer's line worker apprentice. And we've had a lot of success for students who've been able to get through it. I believe about 85% of them, if not more, have actually become apprentices, which is a well-paying job. So it is a very good track record. There are other companies out there interested in hiring people with this skill set. So even if you don't work out at consumers, and in all likelihood you will if you make it through, you do have that option of looking elsewhere. So it's a really awesome opportunity to take a few classes and get a potentially very high paying job. So in the line worker certificate, there are a number of different classes that you need to take. So you need to take our EGY 101 Energy Industry Fundamentals course, which is just a basic overview of what the energy industry is and what it has to offer. So it gives you just a high-level view of the laws, the business, the technology that's involved, because a lot of people just quite simply aren't aware of what goes on in the energy industry, even though it's such a big part of our day-to-day lives. You also need to take our MFG 135 safety class. If you have an OSHA 10 certificate, we do actually offer credit for prior learning for that. So if you've already taken an OSHA 10 class, we do waive that for you and give you credit for it. Third, you need to take ELT 106, which is a basic introduction to electricity. So you understand, among other things, how electricity works and how different basic circuits are put together, as well as some basics about maintenance, and a little bit of hydraulics and pneumatics. So it's kind of a general overview of a lot of the technology and a lot of the science that goes into the energy industry. So the fourth class that you take, and this is kind of the last one that you take at JC, is HPF 165, which is the line worker fitness class. So depending on whether you're in high school or whether or not where you're at in life, generally we kind of recommend that you try to get all of these done at once. You can work with your navigator to make sure that you're on track and doing this in the correct order based on availability. But these 4 courses kind of represent the core JC component of the program. If you're a high school student who's dual enrolled, you might take a couple of these at a time to prepare for college life when you're eligible for the climbing portion of the program. But for everyone else, we generally recommend that you try to just do this all at once because it will just kind of make things faster and easier. This fitness class is usually one we want you to take before you go into the climbing portion because that demonstrates that you're physically fit currently and ready to go when it comes to those climbing classes. So that is one that you want to kind of hold off on until you know that you're ready to get in the climbing clinics. And you will be told once you get into this program just when to take things. We do a pretty good job of making sure people are on track for this sort of thing. So the 3 portions of the program that take place at Consumers are EGY 110, EGY 111, and EGY 112. So EGY 110 is a half credit climbing clinic course. So what that means is it is 2 Saturdays, basically, like 2 4-hour climbing clinics that Consumers puts on, and you learn the basics of safety, the basics of climbing, and it basically gives you a chance to see if you are comfortable going up and down a pole. So if you're not, and some people are not, again, all these other credits will count towards other possible programs. So if you've already taken some classes and you decide that being a line worker is not for you, don't worry about it because you can use those credits towards a different degree and a different career path. But that is why that's there, and we like to try to get people in there sooner rather than later so they know early on whether or not that is going to work for them. EGY 111 is the climbing orientation, and you can only take that after finishing the climbing clinics. So that is a more advanced and physically demanding course, so it's up to 24 hours of work with Consumers where you're doing some more maintenance work, you're learning some more high-end skills that really show that you have what it takes to be a line worker. And that's the one where you really want to have that physical fitness in place so you're in good shape for that climbing orientation. So once you have passed all 6 of these, including the orientation, and for most people that all takes place over 1 semester, so as you guys probably all know, our semesters are broken into a first 7 and a second 7-week session. So usually for the first 7 weeks, we start off with the EGY, MFG, ELT, and then the climbing clinic. And then in the second 7 weeks, we do the climbing orientation. So the semester following that, once you have all of this completed, you're eligible for the climbing school. And this is the one where, just full disclosure, there is a bit of a wait list sometimes at Consumers, and it depends on their availability. So your navigator, again, will work with you to let you know when you're in position to take that. So that is actually an 11-week class. It's 40 hours a week, so it's basically like a boot camp situation where you are spending all day, every day, practicing your climbing and really learning the nuance and the skill that is involved with becoming a line worker. So that's very hands-on and very intense, and that all of the climbing happens at Consumers Energy's Marshall Training Center in Marshall, Michigan. So that is what that class is. And once you complete that one successfully, that's when you're guaranteed that interview and the potential to be hired on. Again, Consumers doesn't guarantee that you will get a job, but they are really desperate for good line workers. It's a really high area of need for them. So if you do well in the climbing school, you have a very, very good chance of getting hired on. So that's just a really cool opportunity. And that is how that line worker certificate works. So just to kind of elaborate on a few other things, we also have an AAS and a BS program in energy systems. So those are more focused on other types of jobs in the industry. So we've had people get jobs in CAD drafting, project management, uh, working with gas pipeline as gas pipeline technicians. So again, it has a lot to do with like CAD and um, but basically demonstrating technical skills and problem solving. We've had people become schedulers where they're dealing with logistics when there's power outages and stuff. So there are a lot of options for people who decide to get an associate's or a bachelor's degree in energy systems as well. And those classes get you a lot of job opportunities that are not the line worker classes. So if you are initially interested in being a line worker and decide it's not for you, your credits will apply towards one of these programs. So either the 2-year or the 4-year. And those classes also include a lot of the electrical and manufacturing classes that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. So if this is something that you're interested in, it gives you a really good background in business, in just the basic technical and kind of leadership skill set that it takes to be successful at a company like Consumers. But it's not just for Consumers Energy, even though that's the local company in Jackson. It really is relevant skills to any utility company, big or small. There's a bunch of them around the state of Michigan and in the Midwest. And we've also had people get jobs in smaller, more independent companies doing things like installing solar panels, um, working with wind turbines, things of that nature are also completely on the table. So there's a lot of job possibilities available for those degrees. On the electrical side of the house, kind of in the middle between energy systems and manufacturing, we have an electrician program. And as part of that, kind of as a subset, even though we have an electrician program, getting a degree in electrical is also useful for other industries. So there are electronic technologists and technicians who work with engineers and have a high level of understanding of how electronics work. So there are other jobs out there that focus on that. And then on the manufacturing side, a lot of the electrical courses also are useful there because more and more as automation takes off, that knowledge of electrical is really useful in a factory setting. So for our electrical degree, if you want to be an electrician, we have a 10 course sequence that gives you the state minimum educational requirement. And then there are additional courses that you can take which give you credit towards your state apprenticeship. So to be a journeyman electrician, you need to finish an apprenticeship, which means that in addition to taking classes at Jackson College, you also need to be a licensed apprentice under a master electrician and have all your paperwork submitted to the state of Michigan. So that sounds like a lot, but again, electricians are very much in demand right now, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. And at least recently, most students at JC who want to go and become electricians are able to find apprenticeships through the IBEW, which is the union, or through local manufacturers or local electrical repair places pretty easily. So in this sequence, you typically take some electrical theory classes that teach you the basics of AC and DC electricity, as well as things like electronics and digital electronics, a little bit of that. You take wiring classes that focus on residential, commercial, and industrial wiring and give you a basic understanding of the code and the techniques needed to bend conduit and wire up switches and lights and other fixtures, making sure that you're doing it all up to industry standards. There's also a troubleshooting class, a motors and controls class, and then some industrial focused classes like industrial control systems and programmable logic controllers that give you, again, a bit of that understanding of automation and what it means to do electrical in an industrial setting. So if you want to be an electrician, there's kind of two tracks. You have your residential and commercial track, which is a lot of times really tied to the construction industry, and you're installing new wiring for new construction. But on the industrial side, you're working more in maintenance, kind of fixing existing problems in factories and changing wiring as machines change, which is a different skill set, but it requires a similar understanding of code and how to wire properly and troubleshoot. So finally, on the manufacturing side of the house, we have a couple of programs, and there's more that will be coming shortly. So we have our Certified Production Technician program, which directly leads to the Industrial Systems program. And those kind of combine to give you the associate's degree in manufacturing. So if you finish both of them, you pretty much have the associate's degree as long as you get your gen eds done. And then we're also going to be adding a CAD focused program, which is more like a design program. And that will be coming shortly. And in the next couple of years, we're looking at adding a CNC machining type of program. So I'm going to talk through these skill sets and give you a basic overview of what they all cover. So the Certified Production Tech, or CPT, is a series of 5 classes, 4 which are specifically for CPT, and then a SolidWorks drafting class, which gives you another kind of fundamental skill useful in manufacturing. And altogether, they basically cover the basic skills of manufacturing and troubleshooting that you need to get a job in production. So there's a safety class, there is a blueprint reading and measurement class, so understanding how to read drawings. There is a production processes and fabrication class. That same electrical class that's taken in the energy systems program, which gives you that basic overview of how electrical systems work. And then the SolidWorks class that I mentioned, which deals with 3D modeling and creating computer-based drawings. So those 5 classes are that certificate, and you can take them in as little as 1 semester, which is just a really awesome opportunity. So on the industrial systems, where this is kind of giving you those basic skills, and again, if you have some prior experience, you should let us know, because there are opportunities to test out or waive out some of those basic classes if you already know and have done some of that stuff professionally. On the industrial systems, we're really focused on what we call Industry 4.0 technology, which deals with automation and data and just kind of how modern industrial facilities work. So we have classes in PLCs, or programmable logic controllers, which again are also kind of covered a little bit in the electrical program. We also have classes in robotics, and all of this comes with certification. So we have 2 FANUC robotics classes that deal with how to program a robot and how to use vision on a robot, a vision system, so you can learn a little bit about that. Then we also have a class that deals with the industrial Internet of Things and how things network together. So that is that program. And that's a pretty new one that we just launched, but we think it's going to be really awesome. And it gives you just a huge skill set it's relevant in the energy industry. It's relevant into a lot of different industries, because that fundamental technology of automation is being used more and more in a lot of different industries across the country. The CAD program, which isn't launched yet, but is probably going to be coming very soon, ideally in the next couple of months, basically is a series of classes in SolidWorks and AutoCAD that give you a strong foundation in how to use computer-aided drafting and computer modeling. So we have presently 2 AutoCAD classes, which deal with the Autodesk AutoCAD software. One focuses on creating 2D drawings, and one focuses on creating 3D models. We also have 3 SolidWorks classes, which is a growing kind of market for, and a growing skill that's used in the manufacturing industry. So The SolidWorks classes focus on primarily 3D modeling, but also deal with drawings and assemblies. And you learn a lot of different skills that lead you towards industry certification, either getting the Certified SolidWorks Associate or the Certified SolidWorks Professional designation, which are really awesome on your resume. So that's a big part of what we do is we want you to be tested and recognized for the skills that you learn with us. So a lot of our classes have testing at the end so you can get certified and have something to put on your resume. Down the line, we are hoping to add a CNC machining program. That's something we had for a little bit that went away, but we're trying to bring back in a bigger and better way in the next year or two. So with CNC machining, that's focused on programming machines to cut out and fold and do different types of things with parts. So it's using computers to run different types of machines. And we think that's going to be really awesome once that gets off the ground in the next year or two. So that's the basic overview of what we have going on in the professional trades. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. So my email address is burkheedwardl@jccmi.edu. So you can email me at any time with questions, and I will be more than happy to answer them and get back to you. So thank you for your time. Thanks for watching this video, and let me know if you have questions, and have a great day.